All right, on our African report this morning, we're heading to Zimbabwe, where the country on the 10th of October joined in the commemoration of ending the death penalty. Now, Zimbabwe has practiced the death sentence for over a century, with one of the most high-profile executions being that of Mbuya Nehanda Nehanda Nyakasekana in 1897 by the British colonial authorities. Now, to this day, her death is considered harsh, unjust, and inconsiderate.
Now, even though no executions have been carried out since 2005, the fact that this form of inhumane and degrading punishment remains on the law books represents an image of a nation perhaps stuck in time. Now, to this end, Amnesty International Zimbabwe have called the death penalty an act so final and so retributive that they cannot be called a justice delivery method at all. Let's join our correspondent live again from Harare, Lala Mgwenya, this morning. Lala, morning to you. Why was Mbuya Nehanda Nyasekana used in the 2021 campaign?
Good morning. Okay, so Amnesty International decided to take us back into time, back to history, over 100 years ago, when the colonizers at the time executed Mbuya Nehanda, who was considered to be a spiritual medium. You know, she was like a spirit medium. The freedom fighters at the time, they relied so much on her word. Whatever she said, they believed came from the ancestors, and the ancestors, you know, were guiding them. And the history of Mbuya Nehanda and her story and how she died and how she fought the colonizers is at the center of Zimbabwe's history, colonial history and independence. And it's also one of the most revered stories within ZANU-PF. So what Amnesty International is doing is they are using that which is dear to ZANU-PF, which is the ruling party, to appeal to them to say, please, can we abolish this law? We know it hasn't been put into practice since 2005, but why is it still in our books? If this crucial law took one of the most respected people in the history of Zimbabwe, why should we still honor it by having it on our law books in the country as an independent country?
Right. Now, Lala, in your statement for ending the death penalty, you stated that men on death row will face despicable discrimination. Why is that so?
Well, Amnesty International says that women in general suffer a lot. You know, they go through so much mental health, they go through so much trauma. And when a woman has been sentenced to death row, she just goes through a lot of trauma and a lot of mental health issues, and it goes beyond herself. It also goes further, you know, to her children that she may leave behind if she had children. It goes further to the family that she has. So it's just the whole aspect of a woman being told she's going to die by death. They say it's very, very degrading. It's not a way anyone should die. It's not. No one deserves to die through the death penalty.
All right, Lala, so it means that Amnesty International are making calls on President Mnangagwa to pull it out of the books, because we do know that since 2005, no executions on the death penalty death row has been carried out, but it's still on the law book. So why is that so in the first place, that even if it's still there, the executions are being carried out? And will the president heed the call of Amnesty International?
Okay, so now the most interesting story about this call, this direct call to the president, is that the current president of Zimbabwe, His Excellency Emmerson Mnangagwa, is actually a victim of death penalty. He was a victim of death penalty, an acquitted victim of death penalty. He was acquitted because of age. You know, during the law of liberation, the war of liberation, he was one of the people that were caught by the colonial regime at the time, and he was sentenced to death by hanging. However, he was then acquitted because he was only 16 years at that time. He wasn't old enough. So Amnesty International points out that this is very personal for the president. And yes, the president is against death penalties. So they know that if they hit the call straight to him, it's going to touch on a very personal nerve, and hopefully he's going to make sure that this law is taken out of the law books of Zimbabwe.
Right. All right.
All right. Quite an interesting way to paint the context that the president himself having been sentenced while he was 16. But we look forward to seeing how it goes in abolition the death penalty away from Zimbabwe's law books, even though it's not been carried out in terms of execution since 2005. Thank you so much again, our correspondent in Harare, Zimbabwe, Lala Ngwenya.
Thank you.